You are listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. Appreciate your listenership. And for any questions on our programming, TV, radio, online, YouTube, all of our podcasts that we post, please check out our website. Tons of info, EWTN.com. And so honored to have His Excellency Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone from the Archdiocese of San Francisco joining us bright and early, of course, in California. It's only about 6:30 in the morning. He has been chosen to be part of the Religious Liberty Commission, and he's going to be an advisor along with several other amazing Catholic leaders and other Christian leaders as well. Your Excellency, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time with us this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on the show.
Let's talk a little bit about your position with the commission. Tell us when you heard about it. I know it's been a few weeks now, but what was your reaction when you found out that you were going to be part of this important commission on religious liberty with the White House?
I was a bit surprised, I'll admit, and honored, but above all, I was happy to hear about the formation of a Religious Liberty Commission, the recognition that there have been encroachments on the exercise of robust religious liberty as the founders of our country had envisioned. So I'm quite honored and humbled to serve on the advisory committee. There's the commission, and then the commission has 3 advisory committees, one of which consists of religious leaders. So I serve along with my brother bishops, Bishop of Rocket, Springfield, Illinois, Bishop Rhodes, Fort Wayne, South Bend, and other prominent religious leaders in the country.
Yeah, it's a great lineup, and even the lay advisories and the legal experts, for example, Francis Beckwith, who's a convert, an amazing, just an amazing voice for the church, and so many other wonderful people, both Protestant and Catholic, and Jewish brothers and sisters as well. So have you had your first meeting yet, or how will this work? Have you been told how this operates in the near future?
It seems to me this is something they'll figure out as they go along. They know they need some advice from religious leaders, and they'll determine how best to use that. We were told it would be a minimum commitment in terms of attending meetings and that sort of thing. We have been told the commission is holding hearings around the country to which we're welcome to attend but not expected to attend. So I guess they want to get the input of people on the ground about what their concerns are in this area of religious liberty.
Yeah. You've been on the front lines in many a battle regarding religious liberty and defending the faith, which you do so well and so faithfully, and we're so appreciative of that. What would you like to see them cover or deal with as they enter into the various meetings that they're going to have now that this commission has been formed? What do you think should be at top of the list in your opinion?
We started out with concerns over the right for people of faith to serve the community in accordance with the moral principles that their faith are formed by their faith. So, we have the Little Sisters of the Poor case with the contraception mandate, Guadalupe Sisters in Los Angeles, Catholic Charities having to shut down adoption agencies because they adhere to the need for children to grow up with a mother and a father, basically. So we already saw some restrictions on our religious liberty in terms of how we serve the community. So that would be a first point, that faith-based organizations are free to serve the community in accordance with their moral principles. That's recognizing the freedom of conscience that everyone should have. Another, but even greater concern was some years ago we heard some of our leaders speaking not of freedom of religion, but freedom of worship. As if freedom of religion just simply meant you can go to a house of worship and participate in a worship service, which is not what religious liberty means. That's at the heart of it, but that's not all of it. There's certainly much more to it than that. It's how our faith informs our public life, and religion needs to be a part of life in the public square. But then we saw an actual moves on this during the COVID pandemic when, in many parts of the country, especially our own here in California, houses of worship were closed. And so this is how we see the government is intruding into the life of the church. This principle, as we know, it's not in the Constitution. The Constitution has the Free Exercise Clause and Non-Establishment Clause, which we refer to as separation of church and state.
Right.
It means that the state is concerned with secular matters. The church can't control the state, but we have a role of being a voice of conscience to help our public officials inform their policies so they will be just and moral. And the state has no right to direct the internal affairs of the church. Although some things we have to abide by the same laws for safety and so forth. But here we had the state telling the church that worship is not essential, whereas it was determining other types of activities were essential. So, for example, here in California, they kept marijuana dispensaries open, but they kept houses of worship shut down. And then after we started opening up and businesses had submitted stores submitted a safety plan and could begin reopening in accordance with the plan, we had submitted our own safety plans. They asked houses of worship to do that, but we were still restricted. We couldn't go inside to worship. So we saw these restrictions even on the right to worship. So this was very concerning, and it's a clear example of the government imposing itself into the internal life of the church, which the government has no right to do. So it's not as pervasive as the restrictions of serving the community according to our moral conscience, but it's more concerning in the sense of its significance.
And also, what about the education factor? Because what you were talking about, Your Excellency, and by the way, we're joined by Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone from the Archdiocese of San Francisco, recently appointed to the Advisory Board of Religious Leaders to the new Religious Liberty Commission established by the Trump administration. There has to be some, I think, additional education to get people to understand what the Constitution says, what it doesn't say, what really is the First Amendment, because a lot of people, even journalists, don't understand how it works.
Yes, that's so true. They think that there's some kind of separation means some kind of opposition. And as one kind of learned bishop I know in this area said, well, who's doing the separating? You know, who determines what is separate and what is not? So we go back to non-establishment and free exercise. There can be no imposition on the free exercise of religion. Now, obviously, there we have to obey the same laws, as I said, about safety and so forth. So when I was trying to fight to open up the churches, I gave the example of a physical church. When we build a church, we build it according to the building codes, right? And the building inspector from the city comes and makes sure it's in conformity with the building code. So it's seismically safe, panic bars on the doors, lighted exit signs, and all those sorts of things. But the state does not tell us how to arrange the liturgical furnishings, you know, where the altar should be and tabernacle and pews and so forth. So that's the matter pertaining to the church. So I use this as an example of how we have to obey the same laws as everyone else, but the state has to stay out of the business of the church.
Absolutely. Talking with His Excellency Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone, the Archdiocese of San Francisco is where he resides. That's his archdiocese, and doing a great job. And we come back, we're going to continue our discussion regarding the fact that he is now a member of the Advisory Board of Religious Leaders for this it was just established last month in May and announced by the President in the White House, a Religious Liberty Commission. You can find the information at whitehouse.gov for the many esteemed leaders they've chosen and some great folks. And we also have, working with Archbishop Cordileone, we have Bishop Pabrocki. He's amazing. And also Bishop Kevin Rhodes. I mean, this is just great that we have three such strong, orthodox, wonderful bishops on this commission working with the president and other religious leaders. More with Archbishop Cordileone when we come back on a Monday morning. You're listening to EWTN on June 2nd. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Catholic Connection. It's a busy Monday morning. It's June 2nd, and we are so glad you're tuned in to EWTN and very grateful for the time that Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone is spending with us this morning. As we mentioned, pretty exciting news for him and his archdiocese, and actually for all of us. What a gift to know that he is on as an advisor to this new religious commission that was established by Religious Liberty Commission, established by President Donald Trump, along with two other wonderful bishops. Bishop Barron is on there too, but in a different role. We also have Bishop Pabrocki and Bishop Rhodes who are working alongside Archbishop Cordileone. Well, this is for us as Catholics, Your Excellency. I know that you know this so well because you teach on it a great deal and beautifully. This is a month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and there's so many beautiful events coming up in June. Of course, we have Pentecost, we have Corpus Christi, so many things we celebrate. But it's also a cause for alarm and concern at what's happening now with these increase in these various gatherings and events for turning this month into so-called Pride Month. And you are right there pretty much in your area, ground zero in San Francisco. Just your thoughts on how we as Catholics are loving, but at the same time must always support the truth of who we are and marriage and what the church teaches on the issue of sexuality.
You're right. This month of June is so rich in spiritual treasures with the Sacred Heart of Corpus Christi. Often Pentecost falls in June as this year. So we need to keep focused on our spirituality. We need to be deeply rooted in God. It's always, in terms of how do we negotiate our day-to-day lives, I would go back to point Pope Francis kept insisting on was this culture of encounter, to encounter the other human being as a fellow human being, and so they can perceive that we're really actually loving people and there is a better way to live. Pope Benedict also spoke about encounter, but encounter with the person of Jesus Christ. So we need to enter into a human encounter so it can lead to that encounter with the person of Jesus Christ. But it means we need to be focused on Jesus Christ, keep our eyes always fixed on Him. So we can build up, be concentrated on living the faith in the family. It all comes from the family, right? I would encourage people to be aware of the a call from Professor Robbie George, Fidelity Month. I don't know how much awareness there is of this, but he's calling for observance of Fidelity Month to hold up the beauty of God's plan for marriage and family and patriotism and religious liberty, all these values that our country was founded on. But we need to keep our spirituality very sound and grounded and focused on beauty. So I would like our people to really promote beauty, especially beauty in our worship. God created us to worship Him, and we have to be in a right relationship with Him if we're going to be able to bear witness to Him in these kind of trying times, such as is this month. I would like to invite people to, if they can, participate in a liturgy summit we're hosting at our seminary, St. Patrick's Seminary, Menlo Park, in a month from now, July 1st through 4th. It's a liturgy summit, bringing in some very renowned speakers. We'll have Cardinal Sarah, Cardinal Ranjit presenting remotely. Cardinal O'Malley will be there, and Abbot Benedict Nivakov of the Norcia Benedictine Abbey in Norcia.
Okay, great, yeah.
So we have and a number of other outstanding speakers. So we'll have some wonderful speeches. We'll have some very beautiful and moving liturgies, so we kind of live what we're speaking about, and just some fellowship, right? Panel discussions and time for people to network with each other, especially people who are involved in trying to build up the liturgical life of their parishes and of their dioceses. So it's keeping our eyes focused on Jesus Christ, and we need to promote the beauty and the reverence in our worship if we're going to be able to do that, so as not to be co-opted by the lies that are so prevalent in our society today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how do people find out, Your Excellency, about this beautiful summit that's coming up, the Liturgy Summit?
Yes.
Where can they go for information?
They could access the website, liturgysummit.org, and they can get all the information there, and they can register for it. There's still room for people to attend if they want to register. We'll be at our seminary, a very beautiful campus, kind of an idyllic, reflective sort of environment with a beautiful chapel. So the setting will be beautiful and perfect for something such as this. And it's a good time to network and be bolstered by people who are fixed on the vision of Jesus Christ and raising up the beauty in our worship, which so inspires us to live as faithful disciples.
Will the talks be recorded, Your Excellency, or will there be a chance to go on this via Zoom, or is it mainly just in person, face-to-face, in person at the seminary?
It's mainly in person. It's not possible to access the talks by Zoom, but we're hoping to be able to make the talks available afterwards, whether in print or in recorded form.
So liturgysummit.org, and this is at the beginning of July, and what a great thing, because I think the more we understand and the more we dive into the beauty of the faith, I think that shines from us from within. And I heard when my husband, at the beginning when he was in diaconate formation, one of the first sessions we had with the diaconate team, they told us, a lot of Christianity is just showing up. And I think if we show up for people and we listen to them and we love them, we don't have to approve of their particular lifestyle, what they're doing. But if we just listen, and if we also know our faith, then we can better, I think, present our faith. And I think it oozes out of us. I really do. The more you get into Scripture and the faith and the beauty of the church, I just think it's you just can't help but just, have this abundance coming out of you because you're just so in love with it. So this is awesome. So how many days is it? Is it 3 or 4?
It's 4 days. It starts Tuesday evening, the opening speech and Vespers and some fellowship time. And then Wednesday and Thursday, it will conclude with the final talk Friday, like early afternoon, and then there'll be a closing Mass Friday evening.
Beautiful.
So,
well, thank you so much.
Beauty is the hook.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with
Christ.
that. Yep, and that to me, that's one of the reasons why my husband and I do pilgrimages all the time, because we believe in beauty, especially in our motherland, Your Excellency, in Italy. There's so much beauty here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
God bless you for your ministry, Your Excellency, for all you do for the faith. Stay strong. We love you. We're praying for you. Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone, one of our strongest leaders out there. Keep him in your prayers. And again, a beautiful summit coming up at the end of, actually, the beginning of July. liturgysummit.org, and congratulations. He has been actually chosen by President Trump to be an advisor for the Religious Liberty Commission. It is 46 minutes past the hour on a Monday. We're going to let the Archbishop go. I'm sure he has Mass to celebrate or other important work in the Archdiocese. We're waiting to be joined by Gail Buckley. We're having a hard time getting a hold of her right now. Let me just give you the verse. It's from the Old Testament Book of Wisdom, chapter 7, verses 22